monetary reform, the other part of the economic system. Once we have a monetary system where money is not created as debt and interest is not so much needed, we will need to put the taxes onto the things which are things we don't want. Taxes aren't really in order to raise money. Taxes really there to change our behavior. And we must tax the things we don't want people to do. So, first of all, resource use will have to be taxed. You also must tax pollution. Waste and pollution are things that we don't want. And then there are things that stop the health both of Gaia and ourselves. And so things like alcohol, drugs, smoking could also be taxed. What in fact you're doing is making taxes pay for the externalized costs that our society at present ignores. We call the costs of destruction of the earth, which people don't pay for, like pollution and like running down the forests and things like that. These are all externalized in our present economic system, and they need to be paid for. And so those will be taxed. But things like useful work, and I mean useful work, not money being made out of more money, which doesn't do any good to anybody. Useful work and profits from useful work are things that should not be taxed because they are things that we want to encourage. The second thing that money has to do is to find some way of cutting down the population. It's pretty well established that if people have a satisfied, full life, they don't require so many children. You get upsets like war or plague, the birth rate goes up. You get satisfied, happy cultures, and the birth rate goes down. Now, if we can keep a much more equitable distribution of wealth and keep a standard of living up which is high enough so that people are enjoying life, we will automatically cut down population growth. And it's pretty well accepted that this will happen without putting too many rules to stop people having children and things. So the other thing that I would like to see in the economy is, instead of the present social security systems, we should have a citizen's income, which is a basic living wage that is paid to all citizens of a particular culture, regardless of what they do. And then they won't need so much money, and they won't have to do jobs they don't want to do. And people will be happier doing jobs they want to do, and they'll do them much better. So that will deal with both the cutting down of resource use and the increase in population. Those are the two fundamental things that we can do by changing the economic system.
And what about this discounting of the future?
Yes, because we have interest, we have grown to the point where something in the future is discounted. In other words, if I pay to grow a lot of trees now and put in £100 or dollars to deal with planting them, or I put that same £100 to investment in bonds and things where money can grow. In 100 years, when those trees are ready for harvesting, they may not be as valuable as the money that I put in with compound interest at, say, 5%. And the result is that it doesn't pay to do something good and productive. It's our present monetary system means that you're better off using the money to do nothing except produce more money.
And is there an example of that you've seen in Alaska?
Yes, the sort of thing that happens is that in Alaska they discovered gold in the mountains up at the top of some of the streams that were very good salmon fishing streams. And they reckoned that they could spend 5 years getting the gold and making a profit of $50,000 a year, $1 million a year, I think it was. But they knew that they would destroy the salmon industry, which was worth $5 million a year, but that would be forever. And on our present economic system, we weren't able to stop that happening. And so the salmon fisheries were more or less extinguished so that somebody could make the money on the gold, which actually is pretty useful stuff.
And so how do you see a way beyond this type of catastrophe?
Well, the minute money does not have interest, then you don't get discounting of the future, because your money can't grow without being productive. At present, money can grow even when it's not productive. If you have to actually create something with your money, then you don't get discounting in the future.
And if it's possible then to create money when an important project's to go ahead, then that would help to alleviate this present.
You create money without interest. As long as you create money that is not debt, and preferably you cut down the idea that you have to borrow money, because if there's sufficient money, one of the troubles with our present money system is that it's always a scarce thing. It's always something that people need more of. If there is a sufficiency of money, people won't have to spend or feel that they got to pay to borrow it. And a good community, what do they call it? Credit union would sort that out perfectly well. You wouldn't have to need to borrow money at interest. The credit union could sort that.